was all kinds of fluky
There was
crap
some weird
going on in that game.
That's
a crazy game. But, hey, you got the win. That's all that matters. Washington's in it. The NFC East, they are in the race, too. They are not out of it. They have 2 games against the Cowboys left. It's going to be a fun NFC East finish here.
Go team, baby. I'm the biggest Taylor Heineke fan right now that you've ever seen in your entire life. That's all I got to say about
Old
that.
Dominion.
I know.
Old Dominion's finest. Go Monarchs.
You love to see it, boys. You love to see it. All right. We want you to subscribe to us because guess what? We're doing the show every single day, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 days a week, 24/7. Not quite 24/7, but from 10 to 11 a.m. So I've got a lot of coffee this morning, Jared, and I'm really excited.
Ready to go.
So download the Pickswise app. It's available on the Apple App Store, Google Play. You can push the subscribe button. Make sure you're tuning in because we got the best picks for you every single day. And there's a lot of good stuff going on this week. We got championship week. So we're talking about some early bird specials for the weekend. Cannot even wait for that Michigan game. Anyways, we have college basketball with our good friend Jim Root, NHL Ice Picks. Quickly, we'll go over some kick picks from across the pond, and then we can't end without our Pickswise 3-star play of the day and our best bets of the day because we got some good ones today. So lots to get into. Let's get it. Let's bet it. Early bird specials, Jared. Give me some eggs with a good crispy bacon on the side. Who you got this weekend?
Lumberjack with some toast, hash browns, some French
toast. Haven't you noticed that like the Hungry Mama special or the Hungry Dad special is always called the Lumberjack, no matter where you go? Always.
It's always called the Lumberjacks. Actually, I'm pretty sure that Northern Arizona, they don't have a football team, I think, but they have a college basketball team. They are the Lumberjacks. So maybe we'll have to incorporate them
good at basketball and good breakfast.
I mean, we love Lumberjacks here. So early bird specials. Okay. Actually, I need to check where the Alabama line is. So I gave out Bama getting 6.5 on Sunday night. Obviously, this is the SEC championship game. It is the crown jewel of championship week. Likely will decide the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. If Alabama wins, I would assume they will probably overtake Georgia. If Georgia wins, the committee's going to have a very interesting decision about a 2-loss Bama team compared to some of the other 1-loss teams and even Cincinnati undefeated that's kind of slotting out in that top 4. My initial reaction when I saw this line get posted at 6.5 was that it would probably not reach 7. So far, I'm right. I'm not seeing any 7s in the marketplace right now. There was one rogue 7 at a very small shop, Sugar House, earlier in the week. I would imagine that the 7s will get gobbled up very quickly because the look-ahead line in this spot was Georgia -3. So for it to move, and of course, after what we saw with Alabama against Auburn on Saturday, the line moved in Georgia's favor when it reopened. So when we get Georgia -3 to the reopening at 6.5, I kind of thought that we would see a little bit of buyback towards Alabama because I thought 3 points was a pretty big move anyways off of a win for Alabama. Even though they didn't look great, they still won the game. And Georgia's looked great over the last few weeks. They've kind of been in cruise control, I think, over their last month of the season. So personally, I think getting 7 or 6.5 with Alabama is a very solid bet because I don't think it's going to move towards 7. I think if anything, it's going to move in Alabama's direction. And this is only the second time that the Tide haven't been favored in the last 12 years in an SEC title game. The last time against Georgia, but they were only a 1-point underdog in that game. This was back in 2015. So I'll take points in this game. I think Alabama's really good. I think Georgia's really good. And I think anything more than a field goal probably is where I would lean in terms of my dividing line. So Alabama, I'll take 6.5 with the Tide and hope they can keep things close.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I was looking at some of the stats, though. Georgia's only allowed 6.9 points per game this season. That's decent. Last time I checked, that's less than a touchdown a game for the entire season. That's unreal. That's absolutely unreal. You look at Alabama; they won the last 6 meetings, but I also think this is a lot of points for Alabama to be getting.
Yeah. I mean, they're always favored in these games, and they're always favored by big numbers usually against the bad teams. Like it just, and don't get me wrong, is it a sucker's bet? Maybe. Is it going to be a public dog? Maybe. But I can't lay with Georgia.
Here's the thing: I think Georgia's going to win the game, but I don't think that they're going to cover.
24-21 final. Georgia wins on a last-second field. I'll be honest. I want Georgia to win, and I want it to be really close because I want to see what the committee does with Georgia and Alabama. Obviously, Georgia will be number 1 if they win. But I want to see what the committee does with Alabama. and I want to see if if it's a really close game and like skin of your teeth, last second field goal, last drive. I think Bama gets in still. I honestly do. And I think they'll just run it back in the semifinals and have Bama 4, Georgia 1, and just make them play again. I do. Yeah. That's what I think will happen.
Okay, before we get into anything else, speaking of a 2-loss Alabama team, another team that could possibly be getting into the college football playoff is Notre Dame, who last night, obviously, that Brian Kelly news dropped that he's leaving to go to LSU, even though a week ago he basically said, I mean, look, I think Mike Tomlin has the best line, right? Unless a fairy godmother comes in with $250 million check, my wife would want to take a look at that first. I'd have to run it by her. That was on November 22nd. Guess what? It's November 30th today. The news dropped yesterday. 7 days after he said that, he doesn't make the announcement, but the news comes out that he's going to LSU. Obviously, this was a really big topic of conversation in my family because both my brothers went to Notre Dame. I grew up a Notre Dame fan. They were kind of confused, but at the same time, we were already texting about different coaches who we think would fit in with the Notre Dame program heading into the next season or whatever. So how do you think this impacts the Fighting Irish? Because their season isn't over yet.
I don't even know. I'll be honest. The college football coaching landscape is bizarre. It's you can't do this in the NFL. For example, like Bill Belichick, like the Jets or any other team can't just say, I'm going to write a blank check to Bill Belichick, hundreds of millions of dollars to come coach the team. Like he has non-competes. He has like responsibilities. And the coaches, we've seen it multiple times. We're seeing it with Lincoln Riley. We're seeing it, all over the college football landscape. These athletic directors just get totally housed by these agents. And obviously LSU made Brian Kelly's agent an offer that he could not refuse. But here's the kicker. That text message that he sent to the team last night was really, really low. It was really low. Can you imagine getting that text message? You're a Notre Dame player. You get that.
You have to find out through social media, blah, 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 blah.
But then you get the text message and you're like, crap, I got to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning and go listen to him break up with me again. Like, I feel terrible for the kids. I feel terrible for the recruits that are committing to go to a program and then boom, poof, in an instant, everything just blows up.
If the commits are committing for Brian Kelly, like I like him as a coach. I think he's good. I don't think he's the saving grace for the Notre Dame football team. I think it's the program in general. Like you look at a guy like Freeman, I think that they promote him and lock him down, or maybe get a guy like Fickle for next year. But if you're committing to just Brian Kelly, like, I don't know how I feel. Like, I feel like, yeah, you're going to a program because of the coach, like somewhat, but at the same time, you're going to a program to play for that program, not necessarily just the coach. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. The Oklahoma kid, one of their top recruits, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, decommitted from Oklahoma the other night after Lincoln Riley bolted. So, like, there are coaches that get these kids
that they do, some kids they don't, right? So it just depends.
Notre Dame's a little different because of the pedigree of the program, I think, and also the pedigree of the school. Frankly, like Brian Kelly, his choices are limited with who he can get into Notre Dame. So
like Notre Dame kind of seems like a dream job for me if you're a college.
Well, Urban Meyer, the joke on Twitter last night was Urban Meyer's like, ready to pack his bags and get both. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's crazy just how quick the entire landscape of college football can change in an instant. Yeah. In an absolute instant. Over the last 2 days, the balance of power, recruits, some of the top recruiting classes in the country are at these schools. And it's crazy. It's almost, it's like basically free agency. Like we should just, sign these kids to free agent contracts now. Like it really, there's really no more, there's no more purity with the college football recruiting process at the highest level. It is cutthroat. It is who is going where, this is going to shift the landscape dramatically the last 3 days of the Lincoln Riley stuff, and then, followed up with the LSU news. Like it's going to continue to snowball. We heard Brent Pryce leaving Penn State for Virginia Tech. Obviously that's not as impactful as the other two stories, but it always trickles down. It's a domino effect. It starts at the top and trickles down.
One thing I will say about this is you look at a guy like Brian Kelly, and I'm going to say only, like it's not all about money, but he was only making like $2 million a year. I say
Only.
only, but he looks around the league, and you're looking at some
Yeah.
of these other coaches that are raking in like 7-8 mil.
I
And they're
agree.
not as good of coaches. And so as a coach, this is devil's advocate a little bit on his side. I look at that and you're like, why are some of these coaches making that much money and they suck? They're not good coaches. So that would be a little bit frustrating for me.
Who's the next Notre Dame coach? You want Matt Campbell,
look at a
right?
guy like in the hockey landscape, like a guy like Nathan McKinnon, who's making $6 million a year right now. And he's looking around the league. He's looking at guys making 11, 12, $13 million. Well, Nathan McKinnon is one of the best players in the NHL. And he signed it like a 6-year deal, whatever. Like $6 million is still a lot of money. But when you're looking around the league and
Relatively
you're seeing guys that are your caliber making that much more money, like I get that. So they had to have given him a really, really, really good offer at LSU.
Oh yeah, it's like $100 million over 10 years. It's like silly. But that's SEC money. The real question now is who's the next coach at Notre Dame? Alex Glaze was telling us he thinks Matt Campbell. I think that's a great fit. I just don't know if that's his dream job.
Players want right now, right? Isn't that what the players were saying? They want to promote Freeman.
The players have this much say in it, frankly.
My brother was also saying Fickle would be a good.
And he's about to coach a team into the college football playoff. Like that's the crazy part about it is all of this is happening. The season is not over yet. Like there's still teams getting ready to go to the college football playoff.
This is like when the season's heating up. This is like the time.
Bizarre.
The time to be alive.
Totally bizarre. The Luke Fickell news, if he bolts for another school in the wild trying to take Cincinnati to the playoff, that would be the icing, the cherry on top of this college football coaching cake. So cheers, Brian Kelly. Congratulations.
Cheers to my. See, you're drinking coffee out of a straw today, too.
I do, because it stains the teeth. It stains the teeth.
No, did you get that from me?
No, I got that from life.
I always drink coffee out of a straw.
The only thing that you and I have is the number 11 thing was really weird and cosmic. I was thinking about that the other day.
Yes.
I know.
You're number 1 2 times.
Yes. When I watched that back, I got cosmic vibes from that. That was funny. That was funny.
Telepathy. I love it. Speaking of Cincy, they're playing Houston this weekend. Cincy's laying 10.5. How do you feel about that game?
I remember a few weeks ago, I was waiting to see what a line would be in this game because I just love Houston so much. But they're getting a lot of the early action, and the line's not moving in their favor, and that has me a little worried. I was thinking that Houston would be a really good dog pick this week, but if that line doesn't move towards the Cougs and it stays at over 10, I think that's a stay away for me. I don't think I'm ready to lay it with Cincy because I just don't know. I just don't buy it. I haven't bought it for a few weeks now. They've looked good the last couple weeks. They've covered some numbers. But I think that's a stay away for me unless I see some serious movement towards Houston. But the fact that I'm seeing over 65, 70% of the handle on the Cougs and the line's actually widened Cougs towards 10 and a hook now, I think that's a pause for me. But I like your pick on Cincinnati. It's Cincy your pass at this point.
Yeah, Cincy, I like him laying 10.5 in this game. I haven't bet it yet, but it's definitely one I'm looking at. I look at Houston, though. They've scored 30 points in 8 straight games. That's pretty good. They're going to test the Bearcats' defense. But Cincy, like you said, they've covered the past 2 weeks. They look dialed in right now. And if they win, basically, they're in at this point, right? So they have a lot 100%. To play. They have a lot to play for. I feel like knowing that they could be making the college football playoff, it gives a little bit of an extra spice to that game. And I think that they're just going to come out and roll over Houston. No offense to Houston at all. I know they're your guys, but since he's won the past 2 meetings by an average of 17.5 points, so laying 10.5 doesn't seem like too much of a problem for me. I haven't bet it yet, but that is one I'm looking at. Another one, Jared, that I want to get into before your dumpster dive game of the week. Michigan going up against Iowa. Woo! Can't even wait for this game. I'm so excited. How do you feel? Because I was getting 11.5 points in this one.
Low total game. Points matter. Total's 43, 44. Looks like Michigan's getting the early handle. Again, it's very early in the week it's only Tuesday. The game's on Saturday. Not a lot of
early birds.
That's why we call it early birds. And the early movement does paint the early sharp picture. The way it's kind of like a bell curve, the way I describe college football and NFL betting. Like right when the lines drop Sunday night, Monday morning, there's this like boom, like you see like a little movement in one direction or the other. And then the market kind of settles midweek. And then Saturday, Sunday, boom, you get another spike. So the early spike in this game has kind of been Michigan from 10.5 to 11. I do see some 10.5 still out there. DraftKings has one, Caesars has one, but the sharp books out in Vegas are hanging 11. And a lot of the handles come in on Michigan early in the week. Tickets are split. Tickets are split, and Michigan's getting more of the handle here. I don't know if I can lay it with Michigan after that huge win. Like if this was a regular season spot and Michigan's coming off that massive win over Ohio State, this is the letdown. But it's hard to say it's a letdown in the Big Ten championship game with a trip to the college football playoff on the line. Very difficult to call that an emotional letdown. So I'm not ready to paint that brush here. And I would say right now, if I had to pick it, I would lay it with Michigan. But again, early in the week, and I didn't like the initial line movement towards Iowa or lack of. So I'm probably going to stay away for now.
Yeah, I'm looking at, okay, so Michigan's obviously going to win this game. Knock on wood.
You did that yesterday. Don't do that.
Knock on wood. You heard it.
No, but that would, what if it's fake wood?
It's not real wood, that's for sure. But it's okay.
What if it's like plastic?
Knocking on the door, baby. No, but I think 11.5 is a lot of points for Iowa. I'm not betting this yet, but I kind of like Iowa plus 11.5 in this one.
I can't believe you're fading your team in the Big Ten championship.
I'm not fading my team. I think they're going to win. I'm also betting. I know, like I'm betting the Michigan money line in this game. But
no, you're not. It's like minus 500.
There's no value, but I'm sprinkling it on it.
Don't sprinkle it. That's a bad bet. Bad bet.
That's the thing. It's like, how do you bet this game, right?
Here, I'll tell you how you bet this game. No. You don't. You watch and enjoy.
I like betting on
hold on. I'll say this. This is like my rule of thumb for betting underdogs. If I don't think the underdog can win the game, I'm not betting points. It's just like, it's like you're trying to thread the needle. Michigan to win by 1 to 10,
Well, Michigan's going to clinch its first playoff berth in this one, so
that means they're going to win, which means you should bet Michigan.
I know. Well, there's no value there if I bet Michigan.
Why this word value? Hold on, we got to talk about this word value.
Well, you're betting Michigan money line, and it's minus.
No, I'm not. I'm not betting anything in this game right now.
No, I know,
value is like if you were going to flip a coin and you're getting plus 101 on the coin flip, you're getting value on the coin flip, even though you're only getting 1 penny. The coin flip is 50-50. It should be plus 100 on both sides. So Jack's getting mad at us because we're going off topic here. So let's move on to dumpster dive. I'll give you my dumpster dive game of the week. I'm laying a penny with Western Kentucky. Okay. You're going to like this. So this Zappy kid is unbelievable, this quarterback for the Hilltoppers. We're going to rename it. We're renaming the show this week Zappy Hour for Bailey Zappi, the Western Kentucky quarterback. He's been phenomenal. 50 Zappy Hour. 52 touchdowns this year, 6 games of at least 400 yards. The line movement from UTSA, very telling. UTSA opened as a minus 2.5 favorite. They lost their first game of the season on Saturday. Yeah. Now it's Western Kentucky as a favorite. You know we love the line flips. Anytime it crosses 0, I think it's important. I think this game could get close to 3 on the Western Kentucky side by the end of the week if the handle keeps coming in on the Hilltoppers. I laid 1 in early birds. It's really my only true bet of the week. I only put a half unit on Bama, full unit on Western Kentucky laying 1, Conference USA championship game. It's going to be a phenomenal game. These two teams played a few weeks ago. Western, UTSA, the Roadrunners won 52-46. It was like one of the craziest games of the year. There was no team led by more than 11. It was like the comeback. It was like the lead changed like 5 times. Awesome game, but I think Western Kentucky's going to win this time around, and I think the Hilltoppers take the Conference USA title. That's the dumpster dive game of the week.
Zappy Hour. He's getting ready for Zappy
Hour, baby. Let's go.
Speaking of Zappy Hour or Happy Hour, let's bring in our friend Jim Root. You can find him on the 3-Man Weave website and podcast, also on the Best Bet show of the Field 68 network. We're talking a little college basketball because there's a few big games this weekend. We can't even wait. Jim, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm always ready to talk college basketball. I was kind of enjoying the dumpster dive though, so that's kind of where I live in the college
basketball. It's up your alley, bro.
Board, so yeah, absolutely. You know that.
What flag do you have behind you right now?
This is Mizzou. This is my alma mater. It has been flipped right side up. When they lost at home, I flipped them upside down because that's what they deserved. But they've earned the right side up status. But
then it looks like a W. It looks like you're a Washington grad. I mean.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't want to represent that because that's constant losing right now for their basketball team.
That's hilarious, actually. It's like perfectly framing your head, too. It's like perfectly centered.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you did that on purpose, but great background. We love to see it.
It's centered, but I'm also covering it, so you don't know what it is. It's debatable whether it's good or not. I don't know.
You look great, Jim. It's great to see you, bud.
You obviously have been watching a lot of college basketball, capping a lot of college basketball. We're a few weeks into the season now. We're seeing some of these trends develop. Has there been any surprises for you so far? If things kind of gone as you expected?
I think general trends have surprised me a little bit early, and it's kind of been happening every sport, but unders ruled for quite a while. I mean, unders were dominant on the opening day, and they've kind of stayed that way. I think they're hitting at like 56% still, and that's in like a ton of games. College basketball has so many games, and for the unders to be hitting at that rate still is pretty wild. And then early on, underdogs were great, especially road dogs, like the big road teams going into like a hostile home environment for a power conference team. They were covering it like close to 60%. That's come down some. The home favorites are starting to get their revenge a little bit, but it's still kind of a trend to keep an eye on with the way that underdogs have more experience. They've got a lot more talent out of the transfer portal. So that's something I've been watching quite a bit early this year.
Great game on Saturday with Duke and Gonzaga. I'll be honest. I think Duke is ready this year, and I think the Coach K angle is one of the reasons why I could really see them just getting a ton of calls in like every tournament game down the stretch. Yeah. I saw their futures odds shorten right after that game. I was kind of waiting until like the game was almost done, and then I hit submit on my bet for Duke. I got in at 14-1. Nice. When you look at the top of the college basketball market, is there a gap between Gonzaga and the rest of these teams, or is Duke and Purdue and some of these other teams maybe a little closer to Gonzaga? Because right now Gonzaga is still very much at the tippy top of the market, and I would say there's some teams underneath them that probably do offer a little bit of value.
Yeah, I still think Gonzaga is like predictive wise, power rating wise, my best team. I would still have them favored over Duke on a neutral, despite that result. But the gap is a little closer, especially with the teams you mentioned, Duke, Purdue. I think Baylor's awesome again this year. I kind of counted them out a little bit last year, or not counted them out, but like early, I was thinking Gonzaga's the clear number one when it was really a clear 1 and 2. And so I think those four have separated themselves a little bit. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit Purdue coming up shortly with their big game tonight. But yeah, Duke was really impressive. I think you almost have to treat them when you're betting them this year, but they have like 2 different ratings. It's a really young team. So when they're a big home favorite, maybe they're not quite as locked in. Yeah. But when they're playing a game that they are focused for, like they were that Gonzaga game, they are as good. Like their ceiling for a team is as high as any in the country, as we saw. So Duke, and that's a good team to have a future on if they have a mega high ceiling.
Yep.
When you're looking at college basketball early in the season, like what strategy do you use when capping? Because there's not necessarily a ton of info out yet. Like, yeah, now we've seen a few games from each team, but like, what's the strategy that you use when you're capping college basketball early in the season?
I'm all off-season work. Like I am an insane researcher and studier of off-season. Like our website writes a preview of all 300.
Guy.
All 358 teams we write like a big preview for. So that just gets me like, I feel like my ratings early are as good or better than odds makers. So I'm trying to attack early. And then once they get more data, they get a little more input into their systems, then that's when they catch up, and you got to be a little more, careful and try to find the right spots and whatnot. But I'm definitely like playing a numbers game early with so many games, so many teams, hoping that my ratings can kind of rise just a little bit above what the odds makers have done.
Let's just leave it at this. Last February, I hung out with Jim at Circa. He was already capping the next year's college basketball team.
Yeah,
we were already looking at next season. The season wasn't even over yet, and you had your laptop out at Circa, and you're like, "Hold on, I got to see who's coming back next year for these games." So always. No, you guys do a great job at 3-Man Weave. I certainly recommend if you're interested in that, the predictive analytics of college basketball and how the numbers kind of shape it. You guys do a tremendous job. Question from the chat, and you can answer this. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. Have you placed any college basketball futures this year?
This is a sad. Yes, I have.
Obviously, I know the answer, but you don't have to give us all if you don't want to.
I mean, I can't. You don't have time for me to give you
We'll be
everything
here
I have.
all day.
But like to your point, I placed probably 7 futures the day after Gonzaga Baylor last year.
Yeah.
Like I just pulled them up immediately.
Amazing.
I had kind of had an idea of who I was going to be targeting next year. And it's paid off. Like, for instance, one of the ones I got right away was Purdue 40-1. And that's not
it's looking really good
anywhere right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, every once in a while, those really early speculative futures ads you miss. Like I think I took Alabama 25-1, and then Josh Primo went pro. And so that value is not great, but it's worth it for the ones like Texas 50-1 and Purdue 40-1 So
and you're not putting a lot on there,
out.
right? You're just kind of sprinkling little smaller amounts to try to catch some of that movement, before the market really catches up.
And it's establishing like a portfolio. Like
exactly.
I have a ton of teams that will all profit if they do well. And then there's like, 4 or 5 that I don't have, which currently Duke is one of them, which is concerning.
Oh man.
If Duke goes like on the run and wins, then it kind of blows everything up.
That's why your eyes lit up when I mentioned that one, huh? You're still, but here's the thing about Duke. Like, I feel like with them, it is all about if those young kids can reach the potential. If they can, I think they've got a chance to win it all. But you never know. You just never know.
Well, we've seen the ceiling. That's the cool part with Duke, because you don't have to like speculate on it. You're like, we know what they're capable of. We saw it. And that was Banchero missed like some of that second half, ostensibly their best player, and they still held up fine against Gonzaga. So, it's definitely a team I'm concerned about looking at what I have in my futures.
Speaking of Duke, they have a big game tonight against Ohio State. Do you have a play on that one?
I'm getting close to stepping in on Duke. I'm a little nervous. The market's taking it down from 3.5 to 2. And I get the angle, like, that there's definitely a letdown potential after such an elite game against Gonzaga, neutral floor. They didn't go back home. They're all the way over to Columbus now. But Ohio State's a little limited themselves. They've got a couple guys out. Justice Suing was a key forward from last year. He's missed a few games. So without their full strength, I'm not ready to take Ohio State as a really short home dog here. I would probably lean towards Duke where it's at, but I'm not quite to the point of betting it.
Yeah. That one looks interesting for sure. The other one, Florida State, Purdue tonight. I love these, these Big Ten ACC games. These are fascinating. Obviously, Purdue's laying a big number at home. And anything for you there with the Boilers?
I've taken Purdue -11 small. It is a huge number. Like you said, Florida State's maybe the second best team in the ACC, but it's kind of damning with faint praise this year. It is struggled so far as a conference to this point. And they're also missing 2 big key pieces. They're starting point guard Raekwon Evans, and one of their centers, Tenor Ngam, is out. He's like 7'2". And when you're missing size against Purdue, that's a problem. A team is enormous. Their front line's great. They've got a transition game this year, which enables them to actually blow out teams. So I think Purdue can take care of business at that number. I'm surprised it hasn't moved up at all with the FSU.
Yeah, it hasn't moved at all, actually.
But I guess they were reflected in the opening line. So maybe there's still a little bit of value on the Boilers there at 11.
There's quite a few games on the board tonight. I'm taking a look at some of your bets. Wake Forest versus Northwestern. Who you got in that one?
Yep, I'm going with the home team here, Wake Forest. I haven't been a huge believer in Northwestern basically the last 3 seasons under Chris Collins, and it's paid off in previous years. This year they've been solid. They got a big win on a neutral just recently. I think they lost to Providence and they beat Georgia. But going on the road here, ACC Big Ten Challenge, I think Wake Forest is phenomenally coached. Steve Forbes is terrific. He's got a bunch of new transfers. They're just better this year. Short home favorite. I think the Demon Deacons get the win there.
San Jose State, South Dakota, the late game. And this is why, Jim, you're one of the best in the biz. South Dakota opens -1 and a hook. I'm looking this morning. Westgate just went to 3.5. It's 3 most of the market, but Westgate just moved to 3.5. Obviously, Spartans are a very sharp side tonight, late night.
Yeah, you mentioned in your football segment of crossing 0. Well, this one is crossed 0 quite a bit. Now they're laying a field goal. It's hard to recommend. Like, do not take -3.5. That's too much. 3 may be worth a smaller play. I think I got in with them at a dog, so that feels solid.
Really good.
Yeah.
Pat on that one for their back there, bud.
Right, thank you. Tim Miles is like a phenomenal coach. They haven't had a good coach in San Jose State in quite a while, and he brought in some talent. South Dakota's a little bit down, obviously huge travel for them. So I think the Spartans get it done late night at home. If you feel like staying up, I'll be up. I'm on the West Coast, so
Yeah, it's early
I'll
for
be
you.
glued into that one.
Yeah, where are you located at right now?
I'm in lovely Las Vegas. Coming straight to you from the desert.
LV.
I'll see you the week of the NFL draft, by the way. Save me that spot at Circa.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, there won't be any crowd here. I'll be able to.
No. It'll be empty that week.
Yeah.
Jim, I have a question for you because obviously there's so many college basketball teams, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you narrow down what teams like you are focusing in on for the season? Because yeah, you can be an expert at college basketball, but I feel like being an expert at every single team, that's a really difficult thing to do. Like, how do you kind of narrow down your scope of what you're looking at night by night, team by team, game by game?
The sad answer is I don't. I'm kind of a freak, and I think I know all 358, and basically I know I'm going to be wrong on 100 or 150, but if I can be right on 200 of them, then that's playing the numbers game. So I am a relatively high volume bettor in college basketball for sure. It is definitely like all the preseason prep, and then trying to track through the years is a pain, but it pays off. Like being able to find the little edges, and like the San Jose State, like we just talked about today, it pays off in the long run. But when I was doing this and my accounting job, that was mega difficult. Fortunately, I'm doing it full time now, so I have 3 hours to go through box scores every day. But yeah, it is a tall task, and I would recommend to somebody else that start small, pick out 2 or 3 leagues that you really know well, and bet those, stick to those,
or just follow you.
Follow a guy like this guy right here. That's
well, I've been doing this for a few years now, Jim. I've never, and we've talked about this before. Like the way you approach it is the way I would approach it if I had the time to do college basketball. So if you guys don't follow Jim, follow them. The 3 Men Week podcast is a must listen to, and you guys do a tremendous job. We thank you for your time, bud. Really
appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Always love talking hoops.
You're the best. Thanks, Jim. We'll definitely have you on in the future. Yes.
He's not too busy hanging out at Circa, capping next year's college basketball teams.
Hanging out at Circa, reading through all the box scores from every single night. I love it. Jim's great. All right, let's move into NHL because we want to get some ice picks in here. There's some exciting games going on tonight. Jared, what games are you looking at? Who you got? Win me some money tonight, my friend.
Well, we'll say it's actually funny. Like both of us have hockey picks as our best bets of the day. So we won't let the cat out of the bag or the panther out of the bag just yet with those.
Well, I have one hockey pick that's not my best bet of the day.
Okay. So do you want to do that first? Because I want to talk a little bit about the futures market and something I saw last night.
I'll do mine first.
Do your thing. I actually like this pick that you're about to give out.
Yeah, the Canes are playing the Stars. I'm taking the Stars money line at plus 100. I love my plus money bets. Carolina, after winning the first, 9 games of the season, they've been struggling a little bit lately. They've lost 3 of their last 4. They're 2-7 against the spread in their last 9 games. Now, they were the best team in the NHL 10 days ago. It's funny how much things can change in about 10 days. But they're trying to regain the momentum right now. And the Stars are not the team that they want to be facing because guess what? They've won their last 4 games. They've been playing exceptionally well. They've been having great goaltending. They're 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 games, and they're going to be very difficult to beat in a contest like this in Dallas, right? It's an interesting matchup to watch. I think that one of the biggest things in this game is going to be the face-offs for both the team. It's a category that maybe not many people focus in on, but when I was looking at the stats of it, a lot of great scoring chances are happening right off of the face-off, from face-off wins, especially in the offensive zone. So I think both teams rank in the top 5 in terms of face-off winning percentage. Dallas is the best in the league right now at that. And I look for this to, negate any kind of chance that Carolina has and had in previous games. And I think Dallas wins this one. I love the value of it, plus 100. And Carolina's struggling right now. So, yeah, you could be like, this is a good bounce back spot for Carolina, but I also think that Dallas is going to keep rolling at home against a team like this. So, Dallas Stars plus 100 over the Carolina Hurricanes money line.
I don't hate it. Carolina's on our futures list this year, but they have been struggling a little bit lately. And the market kind of agrees with you here. So, I don't mind it at all because Carolina opened as a favorite, and now Dallas is a slight favorite. So, we just talked about it in college football. We just talked about it in college basketball, crossing 0, not really crossing 0 in hockey because there's no spread, but the money line crossing 0, going from a minus to a plus And then for Dallas going from a plus to a minus, obviously that is significant. Okay, so I was doing some research on some futures market stuff with the NHL last night during my post MNF boredom, and I was looking at the Islanders because the Islanders have had arguably the weirdest start to a season that you can ever have. They started the year because obviously they're opening their new arena, so they started the year with 13 consecutive road games, and I thought to myself, wow. If they can get through that relatively unscathed, then they're going to have a bunch of home games, 41 of them compared to just 28 road games down the stretch of the season. And I thought that was a good buy low point. Well, then COVID struck, and like their entire roster has been out for the last week. The NHL finally said, okay, enough is enough. We're going to postpone these games. They haven't played, I think, since last week or maybe over the weekend. They're not playing tonight. They're not going to play Thursday. They might come back Saturday. And so I was like, all right, what's the buy low point on the Isles? Because preseason, they were like 20-1. They were like one of the top 5, top 6 favorites in the NHL. So I go to some sites. I see DraftKings 50-1. I see MGM 50-1. Westgate's 80-1. FanDuel has the Isles at 250-1 to win the Stanley Cup. Wow. A $25 bet on the Isles gets you $6,200, $6,250. So I'm not saying it's going to hit. I'm not saying the Isles are going to win the Stanley Cup.
Why not? Why not?
This is a team that a month ago was 20-1. And what's changed? They've played 13 road games and their whole team's been out for COVID. They are going to come back at some point. They are very well coached. They've been in the Eastern Conference Final for 2 years in a row. They are going to get hot. They're only 2-1 to make the playoffs, which is not that big of a long shot. If they get into the playoffs, what have we seen? You've seen it year in, year out with the Abs.
They make it very difficult for teams to get any sort of offense going, and I think that that's a recipe for success, especially come playoffs, because teams are tired. Teams are tired, and they play that scrappy kind of mucky, like slow pace, like not slow pace. That's not the right way to say it, but they make it difficult for any teams to get out in transition and basically like have any sort of momentum on the offensive side. And so I think that works well. It's a frustrating style of hockey to play against, and it's a frustrating style of hockey to watch, but it's a successful style of hockey, especially come playoffs. And that's why they have been in the Eastern Conference Finals the last couple of years.
And also, what have we seen? And I see this every year in the hockey postseason. You've seen it firsthand with the Avs. There are a lot of any other team, any other sport, NFL, Major League Baseball, the long shots don't have really a chance to win it all. Like the Tigers and the Royals are not winning a World Series. Like it's just not happening. Like the Jets, the Texans.
So fast-paced, so momentum-based that it could change in the blink of an eye. I mean, we see
and the lower seeded teams have more value in the NHL postseason, I think, than any other postseason in all of sports. So if a team like the Isles can find a way to get healthy and to capitalize on all of their home games in their new arena in the last 2-3 months of the season, and they find a way to get into the playoffs, even if they're the 8th seed at 250-1, I feel like I already won the bet.
Sprinkle it on there, Jared. Sprinkle it on there.
We're sprinkling. We're not. So here's the strategy, guys. We're gonna wait until the COVID tests come back this week and the players return, because the number's not gonna move this week because they're not playing. So once they do, we'll announce it on the show, obviously. But 250-1 is a stone cold bet for me with the Isles to win the cup. Stone cold bet.
I like it, Jared. I like it. Big fan. Okay, before we get into our best bets of the day, quickly go through your picks.
Hopefully they're not shit picks. Hopefully not. All right, so this is a rare midweek EPL fixtures. We're getting the double now. Usually it's only Saturday, Sunday. Now it's Tuesday, Wednesday. We get the double match week. 2 matches today: Leeds, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Norwich. I'm not really that excited about these matches. They're kind of lower tier teams, especially Newcastle and Norwich are actually the bottom 2 teams in the table right now. So we're going to hope for some wide open games, and we're going to sprinkle a half unit on each of these bets. Same game parlays, over 2.5 with both teams to score. Both are priced at plus money. We just need one to hit for us to make money. Again, there's no sharp angles. There's no the line movement, any of that crap. This is just 2 relatively bad teams going up against each other. I expect wide open play, especially Norwich and Newcastle, because this is an opportunity for both to get 3 points and to get out of the cellar and get out of the relegation zone. Leeds and Palace, I actually think Palace is a little underrated in this spot, but Leeds has that high press. So over 2.5, both teams to score, same game parlays on both, plus 108 on Leeds Palace, plus 105 Newcastle Norwich. Hope for some goals and some fun this afternoon on the pitch.
Those are Jared's non-shit picks. We love
non-shit kick picks. Pray.
Say that 5 times fast.
No.
All right, let's get into our 3-star play of the day. Jared, who we got on the website?
Oh, wait, hold on. I got to look. I've been so consumed.
I'm distracting you too much.
So consumed with Jim and all his things. Oh, we got some good ones today. We got an under on the ice. Actually, I like this pick. I was thinking about this game because I did notice that the Bruins and the Wings have been under teams recently. So Wings, Bruins, under 5.5. Connor Grutenheis is on that one. And hey, by the way, we give out horse racing picks on the site as well. The race 8 at Parks today. Martin Pennington is advising a play on Parsimony. Love the horse racing names, by the way. The names of the horses, top notch. Parsimony. Race 8 at Parks today, approximate post time around 3:20 Eastern. So we got horse racing this afternoon. We got hockey tonight. We just gave out soccer this afternoon. And let's close with some more puck picks. Why
not? Watch this. Listen, sounds like a horse. Fun fact.
Have you ever ridden a horse before?
Have I? Yeah, of course.
I've never. No, never. I think I would feel bad. Like I'm 220 pounds. Like I'd feel bad for a horse. I would feel bad. Like it's just, I'm sorry, bro. Like
I'm not 220, so yeah, you need to get like a stallion if you're gonna be riding.
I need to get like a cow, frankly. Like, yeah, no, I need one of those big boys. We can't have one of those little ponies. That thing would just go right down.
Please save me.
All right, I'm gonna bet the Devils tonight on the money line. By the way, I'm going for my 8th straight POD. Can we take a moment you need like a seance for this. This is big. This will be breaking the all-time LBI records.
Jared. You only got one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music.
Hopefully we don't lose tonight.
Yeah. Okay,
and this opportunity, it's come before. The last time both me and Alex Glaze had a chance to go for 8 straight, we both shat the bed. Hopefully the Devils don't shat the bed tonight. Here's actually the best handicap that I have for this game is you're losing it right now. The best handicap I have for this game.
Clydesdales and shat. I just can't do it. I can't.
They're actually if you one of the best parts about I've covered the Belmont before. Yeah. Man, those pooper scoopers have a tough job. It's a tough job. That's one of the things you don't realize when you're going to those horse racing events, those tracks. So the Devils line open minus 120. It's moved about 15 cents. I saw a report that it might be Aiden Hill in net for the Sharks tonight and not James Reimer. That report is false. That's why I think I'm seeing a little bit of buyback on San Jose here. Listen, the Sharks are hot. Reimer's hot, coming off a big shutout win over the Blackhawks. But Reimer started 4 straight games in net, and no Shark goalie, he's the starter, has started more than 3 straight all year. Mm-hmm. And this tonight would be his 5th straight start. This is a start of a long road trip for the Sharks. Maybe they go to Hill. I don't think so. I think it's going to be Reimer, and that's why I think the line's going to move a little bit towards the Sharks tonight. So you actually probably can wait till later tonight to bet this for the Devils. But the Devils have been really good in Newark. Only 3 regulation losses in 11 games, and also 37 home goals. That's the 10th most in the NHL. Yeah. Jack Hughes could return tonight for New Jersey. That is huge. And also, like I said, the best handicap I have for this game, this is the Spotlight crew. Our buddy Jack, the whole Spotlight crew is going to be in the house for this game tonight. I hope Jack enjoys the Jack Hughes returning for Jack Harrison's night at the Prudential Center. Jack on Jack. Sharks, Devils, great game. We hope the Devils win. Let's get our 8th straight POD. Fingers crossed. We need our Spotlight boys to root us home here. Come on, let's go. Let's do this.
Caps money line against the Panthers this weekend. Florida, and I know the Panthers are one of the hottest teams right now, but Florida did drop its last 2, coming off their first home loss of the season, entering this contest. And that's dropped the Panthers out of the first place in the Atlantic Division, which obviously it's early in the season, whatever. But they're behind the surging Maple Leafs right now. And the Maple Leafs, who didn't have a great start to the season, are now on fire, but things don't get any easier. They're facing Washington, a team that has won 9 of their last 11 games entering this game. Samsonov has been stellar in goal. Ovi been leading the way defensively and offensively as well. And the Panthers have struggled of late with back-to-back losses. Their 1-goal performance against Seattle, out of all teams, 1-goal performance against Seattle, which teams have been absolutely taking advantage of the Kraken recently. Washington playing well as of late. The Caps are terrific on both sides of the ice. They've been really, really fun to watch. I think I look for Ovi right now to lead the Caps to a victory in this contest. And it's also good value too. Caps money line at plus 122. So I know you didn't love that bet, but you know what? We're not going to talk about it because I know
I don't have to talk about it, but it does look too easy. Like, why is the line moving in Florida's favor? That scares me.
We'll see what
Now, don't get me wrong. The fishing lines lose all the time. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is like, you're right. Your cap is spot on. The Caps are hot. The Panthers are cold. Then why is Florida?
The Caps are spot on.
But why is Florida favored in this game, and why is the line moving in their direction? I laid off out of respect to your best bet, but if I had to play this, I probably would play Florida.
Let's go. Yeah.
But I'm not.
OV.
I'm not
on that
playing.
note, we're ending the show. On that note. Let's go Caps, baby. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Like, subscribe, comment. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Jared Smith, Lauren Jabbar, best of luck tonight, guys. Let's get it. Let's bet it.
That was hilarious.